All right, everyone. This is a segment that I imagine many of you guys have been dreading. Some of you have maybe been begging for me to talk about it because you need some reasonable voices to discuss this because it's a bad situation. It's a rough situation. You see, about a year and a half ago maybe, some real good news for the trans community hit the web. That was that one of the most known faces on the internet, one of the closest friends of Mr. Beast, Chris Tyson, had come out as trans. I believe is gender fluid. Any all pronouns, was still going by Chris Tyson, now goes by Ava Chris Tyson, and it has come out fully trans woman, on hormones, all that. This is a big deal for the trans community, especially young trans people, due to the fact that Mr. Beast is the YouTuber. He's the YouTuber. And being best friends with a trans person and regularly platforming a trans person, having fun with, and just showing that trans people are people like anyone else. They, like, why be weird about it? It's huge. It was a very passive and unintentional W for the trans community, right? Like, I think most of you guys, especially trans viewers in chat, agree with that. And here's a picture of them together, by the way. This is Ava Tyson. This is Mr. Beast. And so for a while, it was all well and good, right? Like, the left was celebrating. Then along came a bottom-feeding scumfuck YouTuber named SunnyV2. This guy is, he exaggerates like a British accent. He's kind of the worst. Like, there are a good few videos now that, like, take apart his entire time online. He is one of those YouTubers who makes, like, really over-dramatized, high production value in the editing, like, commentary video essays where it's about, he's Aussie. He exaggerates his accent, though. Whatever. Like, I've heard him speak when he's not making videos, and his accent's not as thick as when he does his videos. He exaggerates it for the videos. Anyway, he's very right-wing, obviously, but there's a lot else about him that's far more cringe, in my opinion. One of the biggest trends is that he believes that when you do a bad thing online, karma always catches up with you. And that when you do a bad thing, you will meet your downfall. The problem with that is, when someone has done a thing he thinks is bad, he needs to create a narrative for how karma will or already has caught up with them, and that's led to their downfall. Or if someone has experienced a downfall but didn't do anything bad, it just kind of naturally, they just kind of fell off, he will invent a narrative as to how they did a bad thing and their downfall was the result of some kind of karma or internet justice. He needs his videos to be a story every time. And so fundamentally what makes them so flawed is that, and if you've literally watched any of his videos that go over a drama that you followed when it happened, you'll recognize that he's just mistelling the events to create a story that's pleasant to hear as a entertaining video, but isn't really educating you much as to what actually happened. I know that Big Joel made a video about this, and I thought he nailed it quite well on the head, but Big Joel's video, if you go back to my channel, you can see I've reacted to Big Joel's video, and when I cover the video that Big Joel made, I am so fucking excited because I've felt this way about the guy for so long. I've hated SunnyV2, and I was excited that someone larger than me had finally made a video calling these things out. So you can go back and watch, like, look up SunnyV2 Xanderhall and you'll find it. Regardless, though, SunnyV2 makes a video about Ava Tyson. And the video is claiming that Ava is going to be the downfall of Mr. Beast, because Mr. Beast, by having a trans friend, is endorsing transness, is getting political, having a political opinion. Which, of course, comes with the implication that, like, if you are a famous figure and, like, a friend of yours comes out as trans, you are then given a political decision of, do you continue being friends with this person despite their identity and make a strong political statement that could quote-unquote destroy you, according to SunnyV2, or do you be a good friend, or do you, make the business decision that is supposedly smartest, according to SunnyV2, and also the morally correct choice, because remember, success and moral goodness align in his worldview, and drop the trans friend. And so everybody jumped down SunnyV2's throat for this, except for conservatives. Conservatives obviously jumped on the train, and they have since called Ava a groomer because she's trans. They have dunked on her a lot, yada, yada, yada. It's what you would expect. It got even worse when Dr. Disrespect was outed as texting minors inappropriately, and, obviously Ava criticized it, I believe, but in general, the online left criticized it because Dr. Disrespect has been very transphobic in the past. A lot of the people who came out to defend Dr. Disrespect themselves have been very transphobic in the past, such as Nick Merckx and Tim the Tatman. And so it ended up being this like online culture war of like Sunny V2, Dr. Disrespect, Nick Merckx, like the transphobe crowd versus the pro-trans crowd defending against these allegations against Ava Tyson. Eventually, the internet sleuths found something. Now, this something on its own is not necessarily, in my opinion, a death knell. And I'll explain why. Though I imagine they'll, if anyone out there hates me enough, they'll clip me and try to make it seem like I'm being defensive. But I'll try to keep that from happening. Someone found multiple instances in which Ava Tyson had made jokes about liking Lolly. And in another instance, or in a couple instances, replied to Shadman posts, I'll get to that in a moment, and had also bought a piece of Lolly art, physical Lolly art from Shadman, and according to an old Mr. Beast video that takes place in Chris's room, or Ava's room, as she's now known, but back then it was Chris, the poster's up on the wall. The poster's straight up on the wall. Now, mind you, this was circa 2015 to 2017, if I recall correctly. 2015, 2016, sorry. And I'm not making excuses for this. I actually despise this. I was myself a teenager at the time, and even I recognized this was inappropriate, even though I wasn't even an adult. So the fact that children, such as myself at the time, recognized this was wrong, and adults were the ones perpetrating this, goes to show how fucked the internet was back then. Shadman, pictured here, this is his avatar, which, any guesses as to why the left has never liked this guy, besides the pedo stuff? Like, just on top of the pedo stuff, there's some reasons why the left, progressives, normal people, have never had a big positive opinion of this guy, just out of the gate, just out of the gate. You see, Shadman, despite, and I need to be very clear here, there was never any ambiguity as to whether this guy was making child porn, or lolly, whatever I call it child porn. There was never any question, okay? You will hear defenses for some people. They might be defenses for Ava, they might be defenses for others, doesn't matter. There was never a time in which it wasn't obvious that this guy was a pedophile, okay? It was always obvious this guy was a pedophile, and anyone who claimed otherwise at any point in this guy's online career was huffing copium. And they were either like knew and were not willing to accept it, or were willing to cover for it, or were lost in the copium. And there were a lot of people lost in the copium in 2016. I want to be clear. I think that Shadman's a disgusting piece of shit. In fact, Shadman truly gained the ire of the entire internet when he drew Keemstar's daughter. I believe, according to Keemstar, she was 8 years old at the time. Shadman drew and we hate Keemstar, but that has nothing to do with disliking Keemstar. Keemstar's 8-year-old daughter in a very inappropriate context. That was the event that really drove the ire of the internet towards him. And everyone dropped him. Stopped, dropped, and rolled on him, Now, Chris Tyson, or Ava Tyson, was one of the people who has supported, and mind you, I think she goes by both those names. To be clear, I'm not, dead naming here. She was obviously a supporter of Shadman back in 2016. And I've talked about the fact, when this first came out, I wouldn't say I defended Ava, but I did say that I don't believe this means that Ava is a pedophile. And the reason for it was the sheer volume of particularly large content creators, like big content creators that are still big today, that back in 2016 collabed with Shadman, commissioned Shadman to make their thumbnails. Elvis the Alien made many, or sorry, Shadman has made many Elvis the Alien thumbnails, by the way. He has collabed with countless animation YouTubers, notably, one of the best friends during that era of Shadman. Obviously, yes, Oni Plays, I believe, was friends with Shadman. So is Psychic Pebbles. Co-creator of Smiling Friends, the most dick-ridden thing on the entire internet right now. Psychic Pebbles, one of the most can-do-no-wrong creators ever, both a massive defender of JonTron when JonTron was, after JonTron debated Destiny and outed himself as a white nationalist. Psychic Pebbles was also, 7 years ago, one of the biggest defenders and friends of Shadman. Mind you, this is Shadman himself. This is Corrosive55 was Shadman's stream, his YouTube channel, and this is a live stream that Shadman did, Best of Shadman, or I guess this is a alt channel, Best of Shadman stream 2/26/2017, featuring SpazKid and Psychic Pebbles. I need to be very clear here when I say that people who framed it as though Ava, having been friendly with Shadman back then, was like a death knell, who also give Psychic Pebbles, when he plays all those like Newgrounds to YouTube animators, a pass for being friendly and like defending Shadman back in the day. Mind you, this is the same year that Shadman drew Keemstar's daughter, by the way. 2017, that's the year when Shadman fell off. So like up until he was dropped by the internet, mind you, he was always a pedophile, and it was always obvious before then, but up until there was no way of denying it anymore, and there was actual pressure to do so, Psychic Pebbles was friends with Shadman. So when I tell you that disgustingly so, the internet normalized this fucking pedophile's behavior, his character, him as a person, his art was made into memes that were recognizable with just you could see like a character's eyeball and immediately know it's Shadman's art style, and it was like a joke for like a single very cropped image of a Shadman drawing to be used in memes because you recognized it was Shadman's art and it was from something awful. And so like, yeah, he still does art for Belle Delphine. So oof, yeah, Belle Delphine, I think to this day continues to commission his art. Yeah, Belle Delphine is like, I think just as bad as Shadman. For those who don't know, and I like, Belle Delphine was sexualizing herself when she was a minor. Mind you, I'm the same age as Belle Delphine, so like literally I think we have the same birthday. I think we're both born in July 1999. So like, I know how old she was when she went viral because I was the same age as her. I was 16, maybe 15 when Belle Delphine went viral, which means so was she. Like, yeah, even after she turned 18, she continued to, and it's been proven now, she uses filters to make herself look younger, and she objectively appeals to a pedophile demographic. I will die on the hill that Belle Delphine makes, her porn is for fucking pedophiles. She is an adult, sure, but obviously she's been sexualizing herself since she was a minor, and continues to try to present herself as a minor as much as she can, like as minor coded as she can, and caters to pedophiles. That is what she does. Yeah, she did like the shock shit with Too Mad. She continues to commission art, or get commissioned art from Shadman even to this day, apparently. Yeah, like I feel like Belle Delphine is actually a perfect example of a remnant of that era of the internet. A perfect example of a remnant of that era of the internet that's still, for some reason, defended and normalized. Regardless, the reason why I decided to bring all this stuff up is as a preface, right? Like, to clarify, when this is the stuff we knew, I personally believe it was unreasonable to claim that Ava Tyson was a groomer. But if you want to claim Ava Tyson as a groomer, you better be willing to claim Psychic Pebbles is as well. And frankly, a lot of the people who were calling Ava a groomer had Smiling Friends profile pictures. Smiling Friends has a very big conservative fan base. Like, I don't think it's an intent of the creators, but it does. Like if you go on Twitter, most people with Smiling Friends PFPs you see are very right-wing, evidently. You know, like, so if you are not willing to apply the standard consistently, because I don't believe that Psychic Pebbles is a pedophile. I don't believe the creator of Smiling Friends is a pedo. Just like I don't believe Ava is. But if you believe that Ava is and don't believe Psychic Pebbles is, or the countless other YouTubers who have collabed and defended Shadman over the years, then in the same situation, same circumstances, then it's very clear you have other objectives here. Your goal is transphobia, not helping victims, child victims notably. But that's not where the story ends. You see, a few days ago, some big unfortunate news came out that makes people who falsely jumped to the conclusion, in my opinion, that Ava is a groomer for the sake of transphobia, have a little bit of a big victory lap. A YouTuber named Sensitive Society, I believe, who is a right-wing, like, Leafy clone channel. I believe he actually had his art, like his profile picture, seems to be, if it's not in the same art style, it is commissioned by the same artist who did Lieutenant Corbus, Pyrocynical, and Luna's old profile pictures, if you remember, like, the 2016 commentary Leafy clone era, where these, like, simple sort of, like, profile picture, like, cartoon drawings were used as, like, it's the same kind of thing, and he's, like, very conservative, he's very right-wing, he's trying to kind of fill the new niche of Leafy. He made a video where he had dug deep into Ava Tyson's Twitter and found multiple instances where Ava had made inappropriate comments and jokes with someone who at the time was a minor. I believe their name's Lava. And many of these messages are, like, clearly jokes, but at the time, like, Ava was, like, 23 or 24, like, too old, and the kid in question was, like, 16 or 15. Now, if you're, like, 18 or 19, I think it makes sense to still be an adult, like, at 18 or 19, and maybe still have some, like, teenagers who are still not 18 yet in your friend group around, and they might hear some, like, edgy, inappropriate jokes, because, like, you could have gone to high school with them, right? Like, you might be a junior or a senior in high school, and they're a freshman, and you become friends, but then you graduate, and it's like, oh, are we just not friends? Are we not buddies anymore? Do I have to kick you, like, from my group chats and stuff? Like, that makes sense. That's acceptable. But by the time you're 23 or 24, which is how old Ava was, making jokes about how much hentai you jack off to this minor, you've gone beyond the borders of iffy and into outright inappropriate, you should know better territory. Now, there's a lot to this. Lava GT, notably, or Lava GS, or whatever their name is, has notably come out. They're now 21 years old and said that nothing inappropriate happened between them and Chris. Apparently, they did meet up at one point, but their parents, Lava's parents, were there. Nothing inappropriate happened. They met the whole Mr. Beast team, and that, like, any allegations of grooming that Ava did towards Lava are false. So basically, Sensitive Society, right-wing YouTuber Leafy Clone, tried to get, like, the story of a lifetime by outing Ava as a groomer, fails to do so because the supposed victim, which of course I don't think Lava was even reached out to by Sensitive Society, it was just, like, dug up old tweets that were public, ends up, like, denouncing the allegations, right? However, even Keemstar talked to Lava. Apparently Keemstar verified, yeah. Mr. Beast connected me directly to Lava, the alleged Chris Tyson grooming victim. Lava: I was not groomed by Chris Tyson. Lava: I did not meet Chris Tyson by myself. I met Chris and the Mr. Beast crew with my family present. Lava: I ran a Discord with Chris Tyson when I was 13, and edgy, inappropriate jokes were said. Yeah, like, Lava was 13, Chris was, like, 23 or 24. That is a insane gap of age for, like, friendship, and certainly for making jokes like that in the presence of said kid. Like, it's just, you had to have known better at that age. It's not like someone, like, who's 19, who, like, graduated, and their buddy who's, like, still a junior or, like, a senior in high school hasn't graduated yet, but they're still buddies, even though one of them's, like, an adult and one's a high schooler, but it's not that weird because they were friends in high school. Like, that's not the same here. That's a really age gap, you know? Now, this situation in particular, at this point, it's been fully confirmed not grooming. Okay, like the victim themselves coming forward at 21 years old, a well and true adult, and saying, I was not groomed. You are full of shit if you claim this. Stop trying to make me sound like a victim. Stop trying to use me as a bludgeon against Chris. I do not consent to it. Like when the supposed victim is claiming, like begging people to stop trying to make them a victim, you failed at that point. But Chris Tyson has been the biggest target of transphobia for a while now. If there were any skeletons in Chris's closet, they were gonna get found. They were gonna get found eventually. And they found some, apparently. Supposedly, there are now numerous other allegations. Now, to be fair, they could be false, considering that there is a pretty strong motivation and, reason to lie about this now, to have a seemingly true or unfalsifiable allegation come out against Chris. But there have now been multiple other allegations coming out, and I think some of them might have evidence. I haven't looked super deep into the newest ones, but from the sounds of it, things are looking bad. And because of this allegation, or these allegations that seem to be a lot stronger, all the transphobes and all the people who've been claiming that Ava is a groomer from the start, despite not knowing, or not having any real way of knowing, are now taking the big victory lap. And if you're wondering about like the crowd that's celebrating this, I mean, here's an example. America First, aka Grape Gang AF, Catholic, political genius, and nationalist says, we all know misgender is a pedo, with 5.4 thousand likes. Yeah, so as you can imagine, the response from the right has been running the victory lap as if they knew all along that somewhere, inevitably, allegations like this existed. And if you're not already aware of like the right wing's playbook, they're going to signal boost this one example into the stratosphere until this one example substitutes a preponderance of data and consensus. They won't need data or statistics to prove the point anymore. This one big example of one big famous trans person doing this is enough that like a generation of people will associate trans and groomer together forever. Like millions upon millions, tens of millions of Mr. Beast fans, young Mr. Beast fans, will associate trans with Chris, aka someone who has been outed as a groomer and got kicked from the Mr. Beast team because of it. And yes, she has been now kicked from the Mr. Beast team. She's no longer on the team. So the right got exactly what they were hoping for. I don't know all the details on the newest allegations. Apparently Philip DeFranco covered them in his newest episode, and I do trust him not to be insane, so we're going to go ahead and watch his little segment about it. Let's hear what the deal is.
Beautiful bastards, welcome back to the Philip DeFranco Show, your daily dive into the news, and today we have another wild day of news to talk about. Just filled to the brim with things that we have to talk about and that y'all want to talk about. So as always, you just hit that like button to let YouTube know you like these big daily dives into the news, and let's jump into it.
This is a news show.
I like Philly D, but he misses the mark sometimes, but his coverage is good.
The Ava Chris Tyson Mr. Beast situation. Because as this whole scandal has grown around the accusations of her inappropriately messaging a minor and all the fallout and old clips that have come out since, a lot of people have been going, well, where's Jimmy? Asking what is Mr. Beast's response to all this, because it doesn't seem like it's going away. And we ended up getting an answer last night because he posted, over the last few days, I've become aware of the serious allegations of Ava Tyson's behavior online, and I am disgusted and opposed to such unacceptable acts. During that time, I've been focused on hiring an independent third party to conduct a thorough investigation to ensure I have all the facts. That said, I've seen enough online and taken immediate action to remove Ava from the company, my channel, and any association with Mr. Beast. I do not condone or support any of the inappropriate actions. In closing, I will allow the independent investigators the necessary time to conduct.
Dude, transphobes got handed the biggest W on a platter ever. I really do think it's like one of the worst things going for the trans community right now is that we need to establish firmly that trans people are a minority group. It feels like right now, any conversation about trans rights is jumping the gun before you've had the conversation and convinced the majority of the audience listening that trans people are a valid minority group deserving of like happiness, safety, and protection, and like rights, you have to like convince people of that in the first place, because a lot of people still kind of think trans people are like a type of furry or something. You know what I mean? Like, how many of you guys have run into somebody who, like, they talk about trans people and it's clear that they don't know, like, the difference between, like, a gay person, a trans person, a lesbian, and a furry? Like, to them, it's, like, all one amorphous blob, and they're like, so disconnected and ignorant. It's, like, they don't even know, right? I feel like we're jumping the gun when we have these, like, hardcore arguments about, like, well, these people are just going after Ava because she's trans, and they want to convince people that she's a groomer because she's trans. Like, that conversation can't come before the conversation where we've gotten a bunch of people on board with the idea that trans people are, like, a valid group, that they face problems, that they, like, you know, so, like, the arguments in favor of trans rights, right? Like, you need to fundamentally educate people and cut through the ignorance before you can get to the level of, and there's also now people who are trying to fight against the rights of those trans people, and that is bad, and here's how they do it. They find anecdotal examples where a prominent trans person has done a bad thing, and then all of a sudden they lump it in together, and, you know, it's not the same as saying, like, oh, this one black person was a pedophile. See, we can't trust black people around our kids because black people are considered a minority group. That's blatantly racist if you say something like that. Nobody would deny it. Not even racists would deny it. They'd say based because they recognize it as racist. But for a lot of normies, trans people are, like, still in their mind kind of a social contagion or a trend. So the idea of, like, there being a group of people who are hateful towards them isn't compelling to them as compelling as it should be, as compelling as if it was against gay people or black people or Asian people or like a group of people that we consider like a marginalized like group that has like targeted hate towards it, and that is bad because they're just born that way and they can't change it. And why would you do that? Hey Zan, where's the Vosh retraction video you promised? Well, there won't be I didn't promise a Vosh retraction video for starters. Also, bros called me like blue MAGA grifter. It's not happening, dude. He's lied about me, as has Demon Mama, a massive amount since all that happened. But enjoy your band, buddy. I am so happy to inform you that if you are a Malding Vosh fan, I have not lost any subs because of Vosh nuking the bridge with me. The hate comments on Twitter have been embarrassingly low volume because your bubble is growing continuously smaller. I don't know why you come in here talking a mad game when, like, I'm not even going to get into it regardless. I'm not even going to waste my breath.
A comprehensive investigation.
That's how much I don't care.
Further actions based on their findings, which is a big and notable announcement on its own, but also because it seems very different from what...
Dude, okay. I will give one last second of airtime to this just so we can laugh at something together, because I meant to talk about this on stream. One of the people who's shitting on me for being like calling out Vosh's like torrent of anti-Biden content over the last year and no coverage of Biden's achievements. One of the people mad about that commented, as Zan's viewership gets smaller, he becomes more and more unhinged and blue MAGA. A Vosh fan commented this on my video about Biden being based. Exactly. ... Do they know? Are they familiar? Are they aware of the situation? Meanwhile, I'm gaining like a minimum of 100 subs a day, and Vosh is down like what 2.3k over the last month. Down 2.3k subs. Like oh, my favorite part. This is the part that made it the funniest. The addendum to the comment. He gets more blue MAGA and further from reality was the end of the comment. I can bring the comment up right now. I know this is like a complete stun lock, but I laughed so hard, and it was days and days ago, and I just remembered it, and I meant to show it on stream because it's so perfect. It's such a perfect demonstration of how nothing the hate against me is right now. Like, it's loud, but it's completely non-existent, really. Hold on, I'm scrolling through. Okay, that's when the hurricane hit. I sent it to Ethan, so I'm scrolling through my DMs with Ethan to find it. Here it is. Here's the comment. from Carrion0409. He had commented, "This did not age well." This is me, my video about how Biden is based. Mind you, it's me talking about how based Biden and Kamala's administration is. They comment, "This did not age well. I swear, as Zan's audience shrinks, he's becoming more of a blue MAGA type, completely denying reality." Meanwhile, this person is denying reality because the YouTuber they are commenting this for, Vosh, is down 2.3k subs, and I am up more than that over the last month. So, okay, man. I know, a bit of a petty stun lock there, but I remember that comment, and it's a really, that comment right there is actually a really good example of the hate that his community has been sending me, and you'd think I'd be upset about it, but I'm kind of happy because the comments are like all that funny. They're all that funny in the context of me not losing any subs over this. Because I'm correct.
What Ava said, because she very much framed it as a mutual decision. She wanted to protect the employees of Mr. Beast. But that said, in general, we saw a mixed reaction to what Mr. Beast said. Some supporting Jimmy saying you did what's best. Thanks, Mr. Beast. Now back to improving the world one video at a time. Meanwhile, you had others slamming him saying, "We don't believe you. You knew. Disgusting."
Illegitimate scholar who seems to have like the most like they're trying very hard to look like an Aryan Scandinavian dude in their thumbnail. One thing, okay, so I've watched a couple of the up until this point coverage of Philip DeFranco of this situation. One thing I'm really disappointed in Philip DeFranco in is that he is not in any way, shape, or form, at least up until this point, maybe that'll change in this video, talked about the transphobia against Ava Tyson. Multiple clips he's shown from the people that exposed Ava go on, like one of the clips he shows has the person go on to say, "We should have known Ava was a groomer, or Chris was a groomer from the start when they say he, thought it was okay to pretend to be a woman around kids or in front of a kid audience." Philip DeFranco plays that clip and does not even in any way, shape, or form denounce or acknowledge the transphobia. So what I really dislike about this is that even more progressive, less cringe news coverage folks like Philip DeFranco are not willing to attack the transphobia because from their perspective, they know the immediate response from the right will be, "Why do you care about transphobia when kids were harmed, you fucking pedophile? You fucking groomer, you fucking pedophile. Why do you care so much about transphobia? A kid was harmed. Why are you defending this pedophile? What are you, a pedophile?" Like, that'll be the response from the right the second that, like, you even acknowledge the transphobia. And so Philip DeFranco is probably avoiding it for that reason, but maybe that changes in this video. Maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised.
But also, one of the most notable responses came from Lava, right? The person Ava was initially accused of acting inappropriately toward when he was a minor. Of course, as we've mentioned, he has maintained that he is not a victim, and Ava didn't do anything wrong with him outside of making edgy jokes. And he responded to Mr. Beast saying, "I commend Mr. Beast for taking this situation seriously and hiring a third-party investigator while also taking the appropriate actions of cutting ties with Ava. And saying, while the allegations involving my name aren't true, I feel there is still a lot of other allegations that deserve to be investigated thoroughly." And then, okay, so this is the last show before the Olympics.
Okay, we're switching stories. So yeah, literally no lip service whatsoever to the transphobia. I think that was the most recent one too. Yeah, that was the most recent. Hold on, let me watch the last episode and we'll refresh really fast. Let's refresh on was it 2 days ago's episode from him? Does he acknowledge the transphobia from people at all? Here, actually, let's play the first story because that's the one where he plays the transphobic clip and doesn't acknowledge it in the slightest. Okay, here we go. Here's his first video covering this drama.
We're actually a sponsor.
Sensitive Society is not right-wing, and what the fuck is wrong with being a Leafy clone, you loser? He called out Synthetic Man. Yeah, man, he's not right-wing. Why would you say that to me, though? Like, do you think you're lying effectively to me? Like, that is the lie... the political lie equivalent of farting in an elevator alone with one other person there with you and then, like, accusing them of farting. It's like, they know you did it, dude. They know you did it. Why would you lie to them claiming they did it? They know they didn't, and they know you did. I know he's right-wing. He knows he's right-wing. You know I know he's right-wing. You know you're right-wing, and you know I know you're right-wing. What game are you playing, bro? I'm talking to a dumb YouTube chatter, by the way. But I always love how often right-wing YouTube chatters will do that, where they comment, like, trying to debunk the idea that the person you're talking about is even conservative. Like, who cares if they're conservative? Why are you arguing against that perspective? Also, what's wrong with being a Leafy clone? It's like the most low-effort, cringe, like, toxic content on the internet.
Sup, you beautiful bastards. Welcome back to the Philip DeFranco Show, your daily dive into the news, and a lot has happened in the past 24 hours. So you just hit that like button to let YouTube know you love these big daily dives into the news, and let's jump into it.
This is a news show.
So Ava Tyson of the Mr. Beast crew is in the middle of a massive scandal right now as she faces allegations that she inappropriately messaged a minor. And while all of this is just now blowing up online, this actually began last month when a little-known YouTube channel called Prism42 posted the allegations. Right, and in it, he accuses her of starting an online...
Yeah, so, okay, Prism42 was the conservative YouTuber who started the first allegation, then Sensitive Society picked it up. My bad. But here's the clip where you're gonna get of the person who dug up the messages between Lava and Ava and started this whole thing. This is the person in question.
Friendship with a 13.
And yes, they do have a Chris Chan medallion in a Tupperware next to them because they are that kind of content creator. That is the sphere they inhabit. They're like in the lolcow sphere. Like the right wing, like going after lolcow's sphere.
Year-old boy while she was 20, then showing screenshots of several tweets that he claims are between Ava and the minor. And one from 2018,
yeah, the Chris Chan medallion tells
Patreon,
you everything.
Where they're allegedly saying, guys, we are so close to our goal, one more Patreon and I'm releasing my nudes. With the two appearing to exchange kissy face and winky face emojis in a thread, and Ava eventually telling the minor directly, I posted some fire nudes for you, please no share. And there, Prism saying, even if this was just a series of raunchy jokes and no actual nudes were exchanged, in what worlds is it appropriate for an adult to joke with a kid like this? Prism then showing other screenshots, some in which Ava appears to call the kid dad, as well as another suggesting Ava was sending him Snapchat DMs with adult jokes. And Prism going on to say when the kid was 16, he met up with Ava as well as Carl Jacobs after taking a camper to the middle of the woods in a quote-unquote secluded area. With Prism then saying he interviewed this guy who's now in his 20s and saying he asked if Ava or anyone else on the Beast team ever assaulted him. However, there he notes that the guy fully denied that. It also seemed like they weren't on the same page, with at one point Prism saying to him directly,
that is highly inappropriate. That should have never happened. I'm sorry if your feelings were hurt in any way, shape, or form. I want you to know that.
So this was this guy's response to the person he claimed was a victim, by the way. Like, this is why I'm not a big fan of Philly D's coverage of this segment of the situation. This guy is transphobic. You'll see in a moment, because he says as much in a second. He is talking to the person who he is accusing of being a victim. This has gone from he is accusing Ava of being a predator to accusing someone of being the victim of said predation and trying to argue against said accused victims' debunks of the claims, right? So one of the claims is they went to a secluded place at a cabin, while the response from Lava is, no, my parents took me to a meetup and I met the whole Mr. Beast team and my parents were there the whole time. Nothing happened. I'm 21 now. I like, people are saying like, oh, maybe he's repressing, maybe he was paid off, but like, come on. If you're willing to deny the word of the supposed victim, then you don't care about victims. The problematic thing here is the way that Chris was speaking to a minor at the time. And Chris was like 23 at the time too. Like, we're not talking like a 17-year-old and a 13-year-old who are like buddies in school making jokes at each other, or like someone who's like still a high school junior and someone who's since graduated a year ago or something still being friends and making inappropriate jokes. This is like a 23-year-old and a 13-year-old. Did you see Lava's new tweet? Is it like a big deal new? Is it like, I'm pretty sure, like, is it, what's it say?
Inappropriate. That should have never happened. I'm sorry if your feelings were hurt in any way, shape, or form. I want you to know that I don't have any ill intention here against you. And at the end of the day, the only reason I did any of this and was trying to get this information out is because of genuine concern.
He also addressed Mr. Beast and said,
I think the work that I see you do is fine work, it's great, it's good charity. I don't have anything against you other than like the fact that, you know, you seem to be okay with having someone that says they're the opposite gender near kids.
However, you know, this video largely...
No, no, like, he ends the clip with the guy saying, I have no problem with you other than you think it's okay to have someone who thinks they're the opposite gender near kids. Watch Philip DeFranco not even acknowledge that in the slightest.
Really went unnoticed until this week when a creator by the name of Brion posted another video recapping Prism 42's claim. Right in it, Brion stresses that he can't confirm Prism's claims 100%.
Not even an acknowledgement of it, because like Philly D is the type of like fence sitter where he shit, like I see him shit talk Donald Trump regularly, but at the same time he's too afraid of being lumped in with pedophile defense for calling out transphobia against Chris Tyson. So like I said, I'm not big on Philip DeFranco's coverage either, and I don't consider him a very good news channel all around, right? I've called him out multiple times over the course of my career. He's had some pretty big fuck ups, and like he has emotionally reacted to stories before and like reported falsely. And I have an example like queued up if people want to know it, but I'm not going to stun lock on it unless you guys want to know. But yeah, this whole situation has been such a fucking mess. It seems like chances are, if I were to guess, I think Ava Tyson probably has some skeletons in her closet, and I think it's probably best if she takes the furthest step possible back away from the center spotlight. I think it's best that she was removed from the Mr. Beast team. There's really, like, this whole situation has been really messy. Ava has a long history of, like, at best, really bad, edgy humor that's been dug up, and there's just no defending it, even in context. There's like for example, there's a good chance that the response to this video I've made ends up being clipped and framed as like pedo defense or something. Like there's I'm sure there's some clip that can be isolated and people will try to use it like that. So I can understand the fear, but at the same time, I mean, like the guy just outright like was transphobic there, like not acknowledging it. When I know that Philip DeFranco isn't transphobic is pretty cringe. It's cowardly, you know? Mr. Beast wouldn't have cut ties without reason. Well, the reason is the public pressure. You know, like the right has enough online presence to put public pressure on Mr. Beast. So Mr. Beast pulled the trigger on that decision, and obviously Ava can be rehired if it's determined that she did nothing wrong and it's all good, and the third-party investigation brings up nothing. But in the meantime, this is obviously the best decision on a business perspective, so it's what ended up happening. Doesn't surprise me at all. Regardless, though, despite the very dour subject matter, if somehow you still enjoyed this segment, please consider leaving a like. It really does help a lot. Every single thumbs up goes a real long way in supporting the channel and pushing my content in the algorithm out to more people, so I really, 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 really do appreciate it. And of course, consider commenting and subscribing as well. Follow my social medias linked down below and join my fan Discord. It is my hub of my fan base. It's totally free to join. And tonight, I'm going to be hosting an Avatar The Last Airbender watch party there in the theater voice chat. I'll be screen sharing the show for those that don't know. And yeah, it's my first time ever watching it. I'm watching through it as blind as Toph, and I don't know what's going to happen. At this point, I think there's one thing that I'm spoiled on left. Or two things. Well, not really, but like, I'm just gonna say them because everybody knows these things, because it's cultural osmosis stuff. It's the kind of spoilers that everyone knows going into the show. Zuko's redemption arc. Zuko getting redeemed, everyone knows, because like Zuko's redemption arc is used as a comparison point for redemption arcs. So everyone's heard the words Zuko's redemption arcs. They all know, and you know, it's just titles, thumbnails, video. Like, it's impossible to escape. Like, if you haven't seen Avatar yet, then you fucked yourself, right? So that got spoiled, right? One other thing I've had spoiled for me is a scene that involves Toph bending a thing that is not Earth in a really creative and honestly kind of terrifying way. Like, if I was one of the people in the situation locked in the room she was in, horrifying. I saw that clip on Twitter and I was like, oh shit. So yeah, I'm excited to see more, because I'm pretty much, yeah, Summer Star, I'm pretty much blind like literally blind entirely. Like, I know nothing besides that. Yeah, okay, the metal armor scene with Toph, where she's, like, climbing on the ceiling, I saw that on Twitter, and I know about Zuko's redemption arc. Besides that, I've seen nothing. I know nothing. I don't know how the show ends. You guys know, I don't know how Avatar The Last Airbender ends. I don't know what happens to the characters. Do not tell me. I will ban you forever if you do. I have no clue how that shit ends. I've got theories. I've got multiple theories. I think Aang lives and gets older. I think because I swear I saw like a thumbnail where old Aang is like in Legend of Korra or something. But besides that... Okay, no, I think all the main characters live at least. Except for maybe Sokka? Because I've seen references to Legend of Korra. I don't know. Aang and Fire Lord Ozai kiss. True. Zan, you're in for a treat? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Well, if you want to join that watch party, be sure to join my fan Discord. I am so hyped for us to do it tonight. And if you're watching this as a video, then you know to join my Discord so you can be there for the watch parties in the future. I also announce all my new uploads and streams. And of course, don't forget, if you want to support me financially, you can always do so by donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live. It's always very much appreciated. Or supporting me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, or Patreon. But with all that said, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And, have a good one.